life's a book, don't get stuck on sad pages. Rainy days with no money. Hard work leads to days that are sunny. Looking back, it was all needed. The problems, the pain, the trauma, the grieving. You are now tuned into the prisoner to painter. Prisoner to painter. Hard work, dedication. Rainy days, inspiration. Prisoner to painter. And now, a word from your local dealer.
Great job.
Yeah, it is.
Welcome to the Prisoner to Painter podcast. I'm Nathan McDermott.
And I am Katie McDermott.
And today joining us is Mr. James Hunt. James.
How you doing?
Thank you for coming on, dude. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I have never found a good way to transition into asking questions, so I thank every guest when they come on. It takes a lot of courage to come on and tell your story regardless, but people think, oh, man, it's probably pretty easy. You're in front of a camera. It's fucking hard. At first, it's different, dude. Having cameras on you, it's difficult. It's
Nick
different.
Potter said, "What up?"
Awesome. Yeah, dude. So, okay, right on. Yeah, me and him actually used to use together, and now we both got sober. Not together, but, we're sober.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Awesome.
Nate.
So, dude, so starting off at the beginning, working where you are now, were you born and raised in Jackson, and what was your family dynamic like?
Yeah, I was born in Jackson, but like my mom moved us to Detroit, like when I was in the 4th grade, I think it was. Okay. Which was cool, but like my mom was so busy, she moved us into her friend's house. Okay. Which then I wouldn't say she didn't leave us, but she left us because she worked in Rochester. Okay. And we lived in Detroit, like the west side of Detroit. You know what I mean? Okay. So my mom stayed out there for so long, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we was in Detroit, but it was like the friends that she left us with, it was like a lot of stuff that happened. You know what I mean? With like my sisters and whatever. Okay. Like the guy that we was living with, molested my sisters and like beat us, and like it was. But my mom didn't know about none of this. Like when she came home, she made they made it seem like ain't nothing was up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was all cool or whatever. Then like I was in 11th grade, I think it was. My sister told my mom what was happening. So this was going on before 4th grade to 11th grade. Oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was a long time. You know what I'm saying? But it was crazy because, like, the way I didn't even know what was going on with my sisters. You know what I mean? Like, they held it up so good. He had a wife. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, you couldn't tell, really. You know what I mean? What he was doing. But they made it seem like, they got us in karate class. And, like, I played football, basketball. I ran track. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that was the main thing to keep me gone, so I wasn't at home. You know what I mean? Because I was always at football practice, whatever. You know what I mean? Always doing stuff. But so like when all this stuff came out, I was like upset. I was pissed. You know what I mean? Like honestly, really upset about the whole thing that all this happened because like it seemed like we was all family. You know what I mean? But then you turn around and all this stuff was going on behind my back. Yeah. And so then my mom moved us to Ferndale. You know what I mean? Outside of Detroit. And then after that, I just like went downhill. You know what I mean? Gotcha. All the stuff that I had going on with the sports and all that, I was going to get scholarships or whatever, just went down, I just like started hitting the streets, selling drugs and all that. So my grandma and grandpa lived in Jackson still. At the time, they live in down south now, Tennessee. But they live in Jackson. So my mom was like, okay, you acting up. Let's move you out of Detroit. You know what I mean? So that's what we did. But that was bad too, though. Gotcha. So real quick, Nate Potter said, what's up? Shannon, yay, go James. Tyrone said amen. So nice seeing you, Tyrone. So real quick. So sorry to hear that about your sisters. I mean, I apologize regardless. And then you said even you get hit on as you were younger. That's got to be rough. But so you moved to Detroit in the 4th grade. What's your favorite memory in Jackson before you moved to Detroit? Favorite memory? I don't know because honestly, I was living with my dad. You know what I mean? Gotcha. So like, and my dad, he's something else. So I live with my dad to death. Don't get me wrong, but like he ain't never really been there. So we moved from his girlfriend. And I don't really. So it's just like, I don't know, probably I got a lot of half brothers and siblings.
Okay.
So hanging out with them before we moved to, I would say that.
Right on.
You know what I mean? Because when I moved to Detroit, I didn't even get to see them. You know what I mean? So
Gotcha.
I see them now, but you know.
So always on the reverse side of things, just who we are. What was your worst memory before you moved to Detroit?
My worst memory?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not being able to see my dad, because we lived with my dad, but like I said, my dad was never there.
I see.
Because my dad he ran the streets too. You know what I mean? I think that's where I got it from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
dude, it's kind of funny how that works. Like, well, it's not funny, but it's crazy to me because, yeah, I mean, being around your father, let's say all the time, or living in the same house, and I can even speak to this, not the same type of thing, but same but different, I guess. But being in your dad's home but never seeing your dad, it's kind of funny how that works. Like, yeah, man.
And it's crazy because you want to be around him, but my dad, like I said too, though, my dad was going in and out of prison too. Like, I don't know if I said that, but yeah.
No.
So yeah, he's been in prison a lot of times. So
gotcha. Well, man, so I've always found this. I can relate, and it's funny because right around the same time, so you moved from Jackson to Detroit about the 4th grade. I moved from Fowlerville to Jackson about 7th grade. Okay. Do you think moving like in those formative years, do you think that was any reason as to why you might have went the path you went?
I don't think that was it. I think it was just all the trauma. Okay. You know what I mean? Because honestly, like we all know or whatever, you're when you're doing drugs and alcohol, you're trying to bury something. You're burying something. You know what I mean? And you got to figure out what it is in order to get better. Yeah. You know what I mean? So all that trauma that I went through with my sisters and all that, when I got into the streets, I just ran. You know what I mean? I ran from my problems. I ran from everything. You know what I'm saying? And that was the thing. I never really dealt with it. So that was the biggest thing. And like I said, like I was saying before, like my biggest, my number one addiction was criminal activity. You know what I mean? Just the rush of doing it, the rush of selling drugs, the rush of, you know what I mean? And that was the biggest thing. And I don't think people talk about that a lot. No, you know what I mean? The point of being addicted to criminal activity, because that is a big thing in this, you know, time and with a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And that's how I was, you know? So
always relating, never comparing. That's our stick or our thing. Always relating. A previous guest came on, not going to say his name. Now he sold meth. What was his thing? Now he said he never touched it. That whatever. I'm not the one to say I believe or don't believe somebody's story, but whatever. Made meth, sold meth, never did meth. But he said he was he said he was addicted to like the criminal activity, and it's like, and you're right, it's not talked about enough. That it's like all the drugs, the alcohol, all that stuff is fine, but it's the life that went with it that was addictive.
I think it's the equivalent of like adrenaline junkies, like those people that are gonna ride that roller coaster 700 times because like that's. Or people who go base jumping or jump out of freaking airplanes. Yeah.
And that's what it is too. Like when I was doing criminal activity, like I hit every store in Jackson. Like, you know, I sold drugs too. So it ain't like I needed to, but it was just a point. If I didn't have to buy nothing, why would I spend my money on it?
It's free 50.
Yeah, you know, so like, and I would have money or anything, and I would still go to the store every day. Like, I think they had a counselor meeting about me, and this is a real story. So they said that I sold like $1 million in a year worth of stuff out of Jackson, which is crazy to me. Yeah. But like when you're doing it, you're not thinking that. You know, a lot of people like, oh, you're just doing it to get drugs. Like I can have drugs in my pocket and still go do it. Yep. You know.
So real quick, Tyrone said facts. That's all in all of us and most men without a father figure. Good discussion about the lifestyle. You get a high from it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You definitely do.
Yeah.
And it like I would steal stuff. You know those spider things that's on the package.
Spider wraps.
Yeah, I would take the stuff with the spiders. I didn't care. You know what I mean? Because I figured once I get out the store, you got to catch me, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? But which a lot of people don't understand. Once you leave that store, they can't touch you anymore. You know what I mean? Once you get out the store, it's over. Yep. You know, and once you know that, it's over for you. You're like, oh, okay, I can do whatever I want type stuff.
Well, and then even some of the stores will like, they're not even allowed to touch you in there.
No,
like some of them are allowed to, but most of them are like, don't don't even like confront them. Just let them go is what the policy is.
It is true because crazy. Like if something happens to you, you can sue them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's their thing. Like, okay, we're not just let them get away with the type stuff.
Yep. That's ballsy to sue somebody who was you're stealing from them and then you sue them because they hurt you.
Oh, it happens.
Oh,
definitely.
Yeah.
So okay, man. So awesome. So it sounds so then you move from Jackson, go to Detroit. What's your favorite subject in school? And did you play any sports? Well, you said you did. So what sports did you play?
I played football. I played basketball. I ran track.
Okay.
I was a long distance runner.
Right on.
I ran the 2 mile, the mile, the half mile. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And stuff like that. But my favorite subject was probably math, I think. But I was in special ed when I was in school, all the way up until high school. You know what I mean? Because I had a learning disabled. I think you know what I mean. Like it was hard for me to read. You know what I mean? I was very smart, but it was just like I couldn't understand like what everybody else.
Comprehensive reading was hard.
Yeah. I had to be in a slower environment. You know what I mean? With all the kids running around and stuff like that, I couldn't concentrate. So, but like when I was in special ed, like I got 4.0s every, you know what I mean, report card and stuff like that. So like. And it was cool though, but I think math probably, you know what I mean, was my favorite. I would say.
Favorite teacher.
I don't even remember. I ain't even gonna lie to you. My brain cells died a long time ago, so I'm still trying to grow them back. So I don't even remember.
Gotcha.
Like my teachers' names or whatever, you know.
Okay. So playing sports. What school did you go to in Detroit?
Well, I went to a couple. I went to Mumford. I went to Mackenzie.
Okay.
Actually, that was the only two.
Okay, I've heard of Mackenzie. That's on that's West Side, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on the West Side.
Okay.
Yeah. I never lived on the East Side or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay, man. Well. So, all in all, how would you say your childhood was? Trauma filled? What was it? Just normal?
I mean, really, what is normal?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's just be honest. I don't, but at the same time, like, I don't know. It was my childhood. You know what I mean? And this is how I think about it. Everything that I went through when I was in my child, it made me who I am today.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, like, I wouldn't necessarily change it. Even the stuff that I've done, like, in my being, and when I was an addict and doing criminal activity, all that, you know what I'm saying? It made me who I am. So, like, I wouldn't change it, But it was a lot of trauma, though, if you want to, you know what I mean? It was a lot of trauma.
Okay.
But then again, like I said, I mean, I didn't know no different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see stuff on TV and all that. I'm like, oh, well, that's all good and stuff like that. And it's crazy, though, because even with people who have good life like that still go through the same paths that, I went through sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So it don't really matter, really, at the same time,
We, that's actually one of the reasons that we started doing this. Was because you meet people where they're at. Like, okay, so it's like you see all these people and they're doing great things, and then you learn that someone had a terrible childhood, could not wait to grow up, and then somebody in the same boat had the picture perfect childhood, everything they ever wanted, nothing was like wrong or abnormal for lack of better words, but yet they still ended up on the same path. And I think talking to people and figuring out like where there was a turning point for it to go down that road, and then the turning point to get out of that road. It's like we kind of want to like scientifically figure that out.
And that's the thing. Like my mom tried her best. You know what I mean? Like now, like when she found out that what happened to my sister and stuff, she got us out of there. She you know what I'm saying? She worked. She moved us into Jackson with a nice house and everything. And she's like, what am I doing wrong? Type stuff. But that, and it was just like the point, like, Mom, you didn't do nothing wrong. You know what I mean? It's just how, I had to put it all on me. You know what I mean? And for the longest time, I did blame my mom. I'm not even gonna lie for what happened. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, well, you couldn't have moved us there. No, you know what I mean? In that situation. But at the same time, once I got older, I had to think about it and realize, you know what I mean? She's a mother. She's trying her best. Exactly. And the funny part about it is my mom is in recovery too.
Right on.
You know what I mean? She started doing drugs for like once we moved out of there. You know what I mean? Because she couldn't handle the stress or whatever, which is crazy to me though, because like once I found out she was doing that, I looked at her in a different way. Like, you know what? Why are you doing that? I would never do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it turns out like when I was 35, like I ain't been doing drugs that long, but I started doing the same thing. You know what I mean? hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so it's just like, you know, you can't judge nobody. You know what I mean? Until you walk in their shoes, bro, you can't judge them. And if you know what's funny about that though, it's funny because like my mom told me, and this is what I like to tell a lot of people. My mom told me she couldn't be around me. You know what I mean? Because I was doing that. Because when I started doing it, she was in recovery at the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she was like, I couldn't even be around my own kid because I couldn't be around that lifestyle. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, wow, because that for a while she cut me off. Like she didn't talk to me, she didn't do nothing. And I was like wondering, like, why? Like I didn't do that to you type stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was still there when you know, type, you know, but then she was like, and she explained to me when I got in recovery, like I couldn't handle it.
You couldn't do it.
Yeah, you know, and that opened my eyes to a lot of things, you know.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 36.
36? Okay, right on, dude. No, so just try to learn people's story is really just the goal. Is there anything from childhood you want to talk about before I move on?
I do have a couple more questions.
Oh,
You
go
didn't
ahead.
ask did you do prom and things like that? Like,
No, I dropped out.
Okay.
I dropped out of 11th grade. Well, no, when I moved back down to Jackson, I went to Jackson High for a while, and then, but like I said, I was selling drugs. I was, you know what I mean, running the streets and all that. And then I finally just like, you know what I mean. I dropped out in 11th grade, actually right before I was about to go in the 12th. You know what I mean? Now before the end, the school year was ended. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm like, so I didn't end up graduating or anything like that.
Did you get your GED? No? Okay. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Actually, you're right. One more question before I do. I like I say, I try to read a room. So I feel like I've exhausted what I can ask about childhood. So that's why I asked that question.
Right. No, you're fine.
So the one last question. What was your favorite cereal growing up?
Oh, I love cereal. I love cereal now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I love cereal. But I think probably Frosted Flakes.
Okay, right on.
Yeah. Or Captain Crunch, the peanut butter kind.
That's just fire.
Yeah,
fire.
I love that. I love that.
Do you hate the
Hurts the roof of your mouth? You're gonna say
no, I know it's still good. I don't think
it pain.
It is hard. I will give you. It's
rips
crunchy.
the roof of my mouth.
It is.
No. So like I said, I can read a room. It feels like I'm just going in circles on. So is there anything else in childhood that you think we need to know about or talk about before I move on?
Any major life event, something that kind of formed who you are or why you started using?
Yep.
No, just I don't know, just that stuff that happened. You know what I mean? That trauma and stuff. But that was about it. Like. After that, I just kept moving. You know what I mean? Like like try to block it out. But like I said, with my childhood though, like it seemed normal if that's what you want to say. You know what I mean? Like I said, the people we lived with, they made sure we got good grades. You know what I mean? We actually, I would say this, we never went outside. You know what I mean? Because we lived in the hood in Detroit, so we never really hung out with friends or whatever. But they made sure we had video games. You know what I mean? They tried to make it look so normal. And I remember one time, like, I brought a knife to school because I was getting bullied. And when I got home, I literally got punched in the face, and my nose was bleeding. Like the guy that was like, and I think it was because he didn't want the cops coming to the house. Yeah, you know, it was like weird. You know what I mean? But like to me, it was just like, okay, well, my father was never there. My mom, you know what I mean? My mom tried her best, so they was the only parents that we had. You know what I mean? There, so it was just like.
Actually, one more thing before we move on. Like I said, always relating. So when I grew up, my sister died. She died of SIDS. So I grew up an only child. But I grew up an only child that lost a sibling, which is different than growing up an only child. So I grew up, and I blamed myself for a lot of things. Because guilt that, you know, I got away with more because I knew that they weren't going to kick me out, because the only child is different when you're an only child because of loss. Do you ever feel responsible for anything that happened to you? Did you blame yourself for stuff?
Yeah, that happened with my sisters. Yeah, I just, you know, and I think that's why I really stopped going to sports and doing, like, you know what I mean? Because I thought, like, if I wasn't doing sports, and I could have been there and I could have seen the signs. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely did blame myself a lot. You know what I mean? Because I'm the only boy. You know, I have two sisters, one older, one, you know, younger. Okay. So it's like, I felt like it was my job, you know what I mean? As like, you know, so like, yeah, I definitely did blame myself for a long time. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sure they've already told you. I'm sure your mom's already told you. I'm sure 100 people's already told you. It's not your fucking fault.
Oh, yeah,
you know, but I feel
Kids
like
shouldn't have to worry about that level of.
No.
fear or that level of like protection. Like that's not a kid's job.
No, and realistically, your mom shouldn't have had to worry about it either, because people just shouldn't fucking do that. Like
it's the worst thing that can happen, and it's also the best kept secret, which is terrible.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and thankfully, like, you know, when it came out, he went to prison. You know what I mean?
Good.
So he got, you know what I mean, what he deserved and all that. So my sister testified and stuff like that, which was crazy though, because like when it first happened, and this is how trauma works, is crazy. Because when it first happened, my older sister didn't want to move out of that house with them. You know what I mean? Because it was happening for so long that
like a trauma bond.
Yeah, it was a trauma bond. Like she kind of like looked at him like her man type. You know what I mean? And it's crazy. You know what I mean? And I think like she goes through a lot of stuff right now because of it. You know what I mean? She's still working through it. Yeah. You know, but it's crazy how trauma is. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, it really is. It can, you know, in a trauma bond, you know, me and her got a trauma bond, so it's always not a bad thing.
No,
and that thing, clearly it's bad. Clearly it's bad. Well, it can be, but I'm saying it did. What? No, but I'm saying it can also be like it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. That's like the old thing of like back in the day, or watching a movie. A guy saves a woman from fucking getting killed. That's a trauma bond, but it's also a healthy thing too. It can be good. Clearly, that wasn't. But I always
I know what you're saying. It does. It does.
Trauma bond is different than like Stockholm, where like you're abuser or you're held captive, and you start to sympathize with them, and you learn that if you're nice to them, they're nicer to you. Type bullshit, like Beauty and the Beast, things like that. Like
So 11th grade, you move back to Jackson. Who do you move in with? What does life look like?
I moved in with my grandma when we first got down here.
Okay.
You know, and then my mom got her own place. She got a place over there by Nixon Pool. Actually, it was a nice house. And my mom, you know, she tried to do best she could. You know what I mean? Try to get us out that situation. You know what I mean? And so we moved in with my mom. But my mom, like, my mom's a hard worker. Don't get me wrong. Like, she's work. You know what I mean? And that's what she does. And I think that's where I kind of get my drive from at the same time as my mom. So she was always at work. And that was like kind of a good thing, but a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, okay, mom's always gone. You know what I mean? And we didn't really listen to my mom at that time anyway, because, you know, we was like, okay, well, we just do whatever we want. Yeah. So, you know, and then like, so yeah, it was like a bad thing and a good thing. Yeah. So we got to run the streets, you know, and like my little sister was living with us. And my little sister is she's good. She never did drink. She don't drink. She don't smoke. You know what I mean? Nothing. Like, she's the good girl. You know what I mean? And me, she's telling me like, oh, don't be doing that. I got a whole gang of friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. Coming over, smoking weed, doing this, doing that. You know, stealing cars. You know what I mean? All that stuff. Like, just doing crazy stuff.
How can you keep it the other way? How long have you been sober for?
Like a year and 6 months almost.
Awesome. Well, first, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you go, so what, a year and 6 months, you're about 36, so you got sober at about 34?
Yeah, I got sober last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So not 30. Yeah. I just had a birthday in January.
Okay, so you were 35.
I was 35.
Right on. So what was your first job?
My first job? I don't know. Make Taco Bell or McDonald's or something.
Right on.
Which didn't last long. You know, I ain't gonna lie. Like, honestly, it was funny because like I was selling drugs out of the drive-through window. Out of the drive-through window. I was selling weed out the drive-through window.
Right on.
And then one time we got drunk. Well, you know when those slushies just came out that they, you know, had at Taco Bell?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's what it was, Taco Bell.
Okay.
And we got drunk pouring liquor in there. You know what I mean? And we just got, like, it was crazy. So we got fired. So it didn't last long. Right. But like my biggest, like after that, I started doing construction. I love construction. You know, I do. I've done roofs, framing, drywall. You know what I'm saying? From the ground up, pretty much. Besides plumbing and electric, I don't mess with that. You know what I mean? I'm good with that. But anything else in the house, I can pretty much do.
Gotcha.
You know, so.
Yeah, man. Just, like I said, we just try to learn your story. You know, so about 11th grade, you know, never graduate, moved back, Taco Bell. You're 35. So when does addiction really start becoming a problem? Addiction to drugs or addiction to being a criminal, really?
Well, I've been a criminal ever since, 11th grade.
Gotcha.
Like I said, that's the main, that's been going on for my whole entire life. You know what I mean? From selling drugs to, The stealing part didn't really come until later, but besides stealing cars, I used to steal cars a lot. Weapons, carry around weapons, all that stuff. It was just like, I've been doing that for a long time. Like, that's been my whole entire life, pretty much, almost ever since 11th grade or whatever. But
gotcha.
Like the drugs and alcohol, that too. I've been drinking. Like, I drank every day since I was like 19. I mean, every day. I used to walk around with those half gallons of jugs of orange juice, pour vodka in that. I used to just walk around with it every day. And that's how it was, and it got to the point now, like before I stopped drinking and stuff like that, because I don't it just became natural. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get hangovers like that. You know what I mean? I didn't even really get drunk. Unless I drank like 2 or 3, 4 fifths. You know what I mean? It was just something I did. It became like an everyday thing. I woke up, got me a bottle, poured me a cup, walked around my cup. You know what I mean? In the hood, everybody used to know me from just, because I had my cup. You know what I mean? And that's how it was. So, but like drugs, drugs was different. I started doing drugs when I was 30.
Okay.
I'm 36 now, so it ain't been that long. But it was like, besides weed or whatever, but but like I started doing that because me, like, I'm engaged right now.
Awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
Congrats.
Thank you. But before I was with my mother's kids, for 15 years. You know what I'm saying? We was together for a long time. I was like 21 when we got together.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like, we've been through a lot of stuff together, and we used together. You know what I mean? And we fought and argued, all the time. It was a toxic relationship. Like, we're still friends or whatever. You know what I mean? We still co-parent and everything like that. Because
how many kids you got?
I got 6, 7 kids.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got 3 with the one I'm talking about, but I cheated on her plenty of times. I had another kid. We broke up, had a son. And before I got with her, and it's crazy, I had a kid with the mother and the daughter. I got the daughter pregnant, and then me and the daughter broke up, and the mom wanted to, you know what I'm saying? And I got her pregnant. It was crazy. I used to be crazy back in the day. I ain't gonna lie,
That's funny.
Yeah, so they're kind of like brother.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. So they're brother and a boy and a girl, or boy and boy?
Boy and a girl.
Okay, so they're brother and sister, but they're also niece and nephew, but like each other's niece and nephew, right? No.
My daughter's the oldest. She's with the mom, and then the son is with the daughter. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I was just trying to figure it out. Mental Olympics.
It's crazy, and I don't really see them a lot. Like, I talk to them. My daughter, she's 16 now, so she's older. This is like when I was young. You know what I mean? Like I said, I was young and dumb. I used to do some crazy stuff, honestly. And this was crazy because this was even before I did drugs. You know what I'm saying? I was just like wild, but so like, I mean, I don't get to see them that much. They live up north somewhere.
Gotcha.
So, but and it was crazy because the mom was married. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so, technically, how the world works, like, that's her, you know what I'm saying? But he's dead now. He passed away or whatever. So,
gotcha.
But at the same time, it is what it is. I still want to meet. You don't see them eventually once I get my stuff together. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's been crazy. But, like, with my other kids, I see them a lot. And I just got two babies, a 6-month old and a year-old with my fiance.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have one right back after the other. So, it is crazy because she's 21, so she's young. You know what I mean? But she's mature and everything, and I love her. And it's crazy, though. One thing about that fact is, like, when I met her, I was doing drugs, you know what I mean, drinking every day and doing criminal activity. She never did drugs. She never really drank, you know what I mean? So at the same time, like, she's my soap. Like, you know what I mean? She's my rock.
Yep.
And it's crazy, though, because even when I was doing all that, she supported me. Like, you know what I mean? She always told me, you a grown man. You're going to do what you want to do. But if you go to jail, don't call me. You know what I mean? That's you. You know what I mean? Type stuff. And And it made me stronger at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So
my favorite thing about this and doing this podcast is no matter what, it's your story is successful because you got sober. You know, so I know that you had some issues and you graduated recovery court. So just to go from where you were to where you are now, period, is a story of success. And I see what you're trying to do online and just trying to spread the inspiration of recovery and just, you know, and just being truthful about it and honest. So we are about, you know, a little past our halfway mark, 45 minutes roughly. So I am just trying to like, so, never rushing, never anything, but so getting to recovery court. So what was the crime you got charged for? And then like, how does life look right there? Like, can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. For sure. What I got charged with was, and I got lucky because they were trying to give me 3 to 5 in the feds.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? For a criminal organization. You know what I mean? Because all the stores I was hitting, selling drugs, like they was building the case on me for a long time. You know what I mean? And I got so lucky because one night I was going to my boy house and I had a gram of ice, you know what I'm saying, on me. I was just going to give to him. You know what I'm saying? And I was drunk that night. I was mad or whatever. And the cops stopped me and caught me with that. You know what I mean? He stopped me over some crazy stuff. He was just sitting there in front of my boy's house. Like he was waiting. I don't know. He was waiting because they, like I said, they was watching me. So he caught me. You know what I mean? He asked me about some shooting. And then he asked me for my ID or whatever. I'm like, whatever. And I don't even know. I was drunk, so I don't even remember how he got me. I know it wasn't legal. You know what I'm saying? He did some off the wall stuff, and that's for sure. But he found the ice on me or whatever, and then they caught me with that. You know what I mean? So I went to jail or whatever, and it was crazy because that's how I got in the drug court. And I'm so blessed, and I'm so blessed about that though, because if I didn't get, you know, if he didn't catch me with that, then I wouldn't be in drug court. You know, you gotta have
sobered up, winning a bit. I get it.
You gotta have some kind of drug. You know what I'm saying? Charge, and they wasn't trying to charge me with drugs. They never caught me with drugs.
Gotcha.
I mean, I sold a lot of drugs. I always had drugs on me. But they never caught me with it. You know what I mean? Saying they was building a case on something else. They was like I said, they were trying to send me to the feds 3 to 5. You know what I'm saying? So like that's how I got in drug court. And like I said, it was a blessing for real.
Awesome. When did you get into drug court? A year ago, year and a half ago?
Yeah, I got in drug court October. It was before, like October last year.
Okay, awesome. Who are you still in drug court?
No, I graduated.
Okay, awesome. Well, was Shelly the head of drug court when you went through it? Awesome, dude. Okay.
She still had drug court.
Yeah. So back when I went through it, Newell was the head of it. So I was just curious.
I know Newell. He runs Andy Place.
Yep.
Right.
Cool. So getting to where you are now, I feel like I got a pretty good understanding of your story. What are you trying to accomplish now? Like with your online presence, because I really, that's why I invited you on, because I really like what you're trying to do. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. You're talking about the real part of recovery. You're talking about the raw part, and that's what I think people need to hear about, and what we're trying to do too. That's not always great.
Right.
And sometimes shit does fucking suck. Life's not always great. Recovery in a whole is good, but that doesn't mean that it's
all rainbows.
Because it's fucking not. Because it's not. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. Is why I invited you on as well.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. I mean, like my page, my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be honest, it's hard. You know, having that platform. You know what I mean? Talking about recovery, it's hard to get the views and all that, but it's work though. It's really work, and it's crazy because if I was talking about being a drug dealer, guess what? I'm gonna have thousands of views. You know what I'm saying? But like this platform in this lane is not talked about enough, and that's what I want to bring out there. But I will say this though, it is getting that to that point. You know what I mean? I am seeing that the recovery community and things like that is out there though. You know what I mean? We just gotta make it. And like I said, my thing is just talking to people about the real and raw, and just bringing the situations like in my life and with others' life that happens. Like you know what I mean? Like the using dreams and like the temptations and how like for me, I can't walk nowhere in Jackson or even go nowhere in Jackson without people like, oh yeah, you got some drugs. You know what I'm saying? You got this, you got that. Like. Or I used to know everybody, you know what I mean? I used to run the streets that much, you know what I mean? And like I have to tell people like, yeah, I don't do that no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't do that. But it's crazy too though, because like I've seen and I noticed that like a lot of people I used to run with is getting sober now.
Yeah.
You know, and that to me is great. And that's what I want. That's who I try to go find and talk to and stuff like that. And so people that, you know what I'm saying, can see, like, you know, don't matter where you come from, like I said, you can get there. You can get sober no matter what.
Yep.
You know. So then, like I said, it's hard, but it's worth it at the same time, you know. So anybody out there that, you know what I'm saying, like I'm willing to go, you know what I'm saying, to them or whatever, it don't matter.
Yep.
You know, even if you are still in addiction, I still try to help, you know what I mean? Try to go to you, try to help you, whatever, because that's just the way it is.
Yep.
So like that's my biggest thing for my, you know what I mean, what I'm trying to do. Like I said, it's the same thing that, you know what I mean? And like I said, that's why I'm trying to connect with anybody. You know what I'm saying? We need to come together and do this together, because the more people that's doing it, is the better it's gonna be. Yep. You know what I mean? And just one person just can't do this. You know.
It's like recovery. Like you need a support system. You need your natural supports. You need your, you know, you need to change your people, places, and things. You need to do all of those things. And that's like why I love like the Recovery Out Loud. That's why I love the community. It's the most supportive community ever.
Yeah.
And somebody was saying, I think I brought this up last time too. Somebody said that you go to a meeting and you have all these people in the community and people would judge those people and be like, oh, it's just a bunch of addicts meeting, blah, blah. I agree with this person. I would trust everybody in that meeting room to save my life if it came down to it.
And one thing that I want to touch on real quick, sometimes I get in my own head and even sitting here, man, is what we're doing right? Or even not saying this story specifically, but we reached one person specifically. If we reach one person, we did our job. I'm telling you right now, we reached two people. We did our job today. That is literally
your channel is Hunt Recovery Channel.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm sitting here, man, am I doing a good job? So I actually have this question right now in my head, speaking to you, man, am I actually doing a good job today? And it's just, I'm sure you get it. Just when you're on the air, fuck, am I doing this right? We reached two people. Just I can just tell by their comments, you helped them from your story. We did our job today.
Right.
And that's the goal. That we did our job.
Absolutely. And that's how I feel too. Like I said, I don't like my view, like my channel don't get a lot of views or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of subscribers or whatever. But like I said, if I can reach one person, if I can help, and it's true, like I have like subscribers that watching my videos like every time I post them. You know what I mean? And they comment. They're like, oh, well, James, I'm going through this. I'm going through that. What do I do with that? You know what I'm saying? And I love that. Good. You know what I'm saying? As long as, like you said, one person, that's all I need. Yep. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. I'm not trying to get rich off this. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I'm not saying I wouldn't, you know, cry if I
nice.
did, but you know what I'm saying? But, you know, the whole point is about helping people and building something that people can see and people can, you know what I'm saying, look forward to. If they're having a good, you know, a bad time or a bad week, they can just watch my video, your videos or whatever and be like, you know what? Okay, that helped me. What he said helped me get through today or get through tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or whatever, you know? Or think about not going back. You know, just stop that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, honestly, and this is the biggest thing, it's so easy to go back there.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? And that's, like, for me, for everybody. Because, like, for me, that's what I was used to for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So actually going back there.
Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh at you. You're saying you don't have that many subscribers.
You have 184
You have more than we do, buddy. You have more on YouTube. Yeah, you have more than we do.
You're doing good. I put your channel name at the bottom of the video.
Thank you.
If you're watching on YouTube, it'll show you.
And then we'll show you and we'll send all of our clips to you too with little messages. But no, but like I said, I was just thinking that to myself and I looked over at Katie and I know she read my face, but we reached two people. We did our job. Like I know I repeated that, but that's why we're here. Yeah. And now eventually we'll get 1,000 views on this. We do every episode. We get at least 1,000. Now we reached 1,000 people. Now how many of those did we help? Yeah. I don't know. But I'd like to think out of 1,000, maybe 5, 10, you know.
And that's the thing, you know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing. Like I said, for me and like for everybody, it's just like being real. You know what I mean? Because there's like I said, there's so many people out there saying, "Oh, recovery is so easy. I like it changed my life." And yeah, it changed my life. Don't get me wrong, but it was a long road, bro. Like this was not simple.
Yep, it was not easy.
No,
it was not easy.
And it gets, but it's still hard.
Yeah, AJ Jones was the one who said that your channel was Hunt Recovery Channel, and they also sent us some stars. So I want to say thank you.
Yeah, that's my fiance.
Oh, okay. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you, AJ. Okay, awesome, man. Well, I was just gonna say, clearly, I was guessing that they were a friend or something. But I was like, clearly they follow you because I have no fucking idea who that is. So awesome. So you moved into Andy's place. I've heard mixed reviews about that, and I know you probably don't want to talk too much about it, considering you still live there. Newell runs it. Is it beneficial now that you're a year and a half along in your recovery, or do you think it's better for people fresh in their recovery?
I mean, it just depends. I mean, the biggest thing about like Andy's place is good because like you have the security. You know what I mean? You have where people can just walk up to your house. You know what I mean? They have locked doors. Like you know what I mean? There's no way you can just walk in there and not knock on my door.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to have the security guard let you in. You know what I mean? So like old people like that want to come find me, they ain't gonna be able to, just come by. And that's just good though.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It's secure. You know what I mean? They have security guard 24/7. Well, but the only thing is like the bad part is like, and it's not really a bad part. You know what I mean? You have to be in the house at 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? You have to be in your apartment. Or if you're not in your apartment, you can't come home. You have to wait until the next morning.
So sleep wherever you're at or whatever you got going on.
Type stuff. You know what I mean? Which, like I said, it's not a bad thing because if you're not in the house at 11 o'clock, what do you think you're doing? Some stuff you ain't supposed to be doing.
Yeah, well, see, I was going to say the only thing I could see that might be an issue is if you're at a concert and the concert don't get over till 11, you're not home until 1.
Oh, no, you will. If you're doing that, you can call Newell.
And he might make an exception type stuff.
Yeah, but if you're just not home at a certain time, curfew's a certain time, you know what I mean? You're either doing something you're not supposed to be doing, or you're like you're hurt or something.
But at the same time, it ain't like the doors are like you can't get in your apartment. Yeah. You know what I mean? We got keys and stuff. So even if we do come in at 1 o'clock, you know what I mean? We can still get in our apartment. I'm not gonna say that Newell or whoever won't look at the camera like, oh, you came in at 1 o'clock. What was you doing?
Yeah, you know nothing good happens after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, so it's structured, and that's good. You know what I mean? And the other thing that I like about Andy's place, like it's nice there. You know what I mean? It's nice there. We have a workout room there.
Awesome.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We got a pool room where we got a pool table. Okay. You know what I mean? And all that. Nice. It's nice there. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? So so you got stuff you can do there. You know what I mean? Awesome. And it's based off your income. So if you're just getting in recovery, or like even like with me, I've been in recovery for a while. Like I've been at any place almost a year, and my rent is only $50 a month. Right. You know what I mean? Because like I ain't been working or whatever. If you get a job, they hire it or whatever. But I like that it's based off your income. Yeah. So I'm not stressed about, I need to go make money. Yeah. So I'm about to go sell these drugs to make my rent money. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. So I mean, I don't have no complaints about any place. Awesome. I like it.
Awesome.
A lot of people, like I said, don't like the structure part. They don't like people watching them, and all the security cameras and all that.
Yeah, paranoia, right? A lot of people suffer from paranoia due to past use. I think I have a question. Do you guys do like is there like meetings held there?
Yeah.
Like you do like if you guys need a meeting, there's a couple people struggling, you guys kind of do like a group like.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like you can run a meeting whenever you want, and they have scheduled meetings there too.
What's the big one there again? Wednesday nights or something? Isn't there a big meeting held?
The men's ones you talking about?
Maybe
I want the man one.
Okay.
Which a lot of people come, and honestly, that's like a lot of AA people and stuff like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which, like I said, ain't nothing wrong with it, but but we can run meetings and stuff like that. But the other thing I like about that thing is because we got a group message on Messenger.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we can talk to each other. And I like that community thing. Like if I need some eggs or something, I just put on Andy, on the message, so who got some eggs I can get real quick. And then somebody like, oh, I got you. So it's like it's a good community.
Do you need eggs? Because I got a carton I can give you seriously though.
No, I was just no,
I'm sorry, dude. I'm trying to give, dude. I got like 8 dozen upstairs.
We got some farm eggs.
I would take some.
Okay, bet I got you.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
No, I got you.
Yeah, we literally got a ton of farm eggs.
Yeah, no, I definitely would take some eggs.
Bet I got you. I got you. No, I knew what you were saying, but I was like, oh shit, now's my time to ask. I got like 8 dozen.
That's so funny.
That is funny.
You're so literally like, you need eggs?
I got eggs.
My fucking fridge is full of them, dude. Man.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll ask a couple more questions and then our wrap-up questions. Thank you for coming on, dude. This has been great. Dude, I like the back and forth. I've liked this enough. We do invite on people back on, so maybe next time we could talk about a topic. I would love to have you back on.
If there's something near and dear to your heart that you really want to talk about and think people should can benefit from hearing about, or something that you feel passionately about that you want to educate people on it or have like a conversation, we love doing that.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely down.
But so really my last question that I have before my wrap-up questions, and I'm sure Katie's got one more. So my last question really is, what was the most helpful part in recovery? What was the
thing that helped you most?
Yeah, the thing that helped you most. Yeah.
Like the thing that helped me most?
Yeah, so maybe NA, was it an NA meeting? Was it AA? Was
there a specific pathway that helped you more in your sobriety?
Like Smart Recovery, Home and New Vision, something of that nature?
Oh yeah, I go to Home and New Vision and stuff like that. But honestly, I'm gonna tell you the truth. The thing that helped me the most and the thing that still helps me the most, honestly, is doing the videos that I do.
Yes.
And honestly,
I get it.
Because I talk about recovery all the time. I think about recovery all day. I think about videos. I think about, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that was a thing, like my whole thing, because it was a time where I was working. I went back to work. You know what I'm saying? I was doing construction and I didn't not slowed down on my videos and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then that's when, like, honestly, I slipped up. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And and it happens. Slip ups happen. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I have to be about recovery all the time. Yeah, I have to, because if not, you know what I'm saying, I'm off to the wind. You know what I'm saying? And that's what helps me.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So it's not abstinence, it's recovery. Like, you have to be in the recovery mindset. You're not just like not using. You have to be steadfast in your recovery.
Yeah, you have to. Definitely me. You know what I mean? And like I said, like, I don't, like, with people that go to meetings and stuff like that, that's great. But like, and I do go to meetings, don't get me wrong, and they do help me, but that's not like my main thing.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. Everybody recovered differently.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's in my way is doing the videos and helping people, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what gets me through.
I've always took that. So the meeting makers make it.
Mm-hmm.
That I always took a step further. Not meeting makers make it, because some people don't go to meetings, and that's okay. Me, I go to 1 a week, maybe 2. Now that NAE Outs is getting back to it, you've seen that post, getting back to it. So I've been attending that more. But meeting makers make it. I took as in recovery people make it. You don't got to go to the meeting. The meeting makers don't make it. Do I go to church every Sunday if that's a part of my recovery? Do I make a video once a week if that's a part of my recovery? Do I do my recovery things when I'm supposed to? That is my idea of meeting makers make it.
And then for some people, this could be the meeting. For other people, church is the meeting.
Exactly.
For other people, it's silence in the forest on a hike, and that is their meeting. That's their spiritual.
Make it.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's really personalized.
Yeah, it's about how you do your recovery, and there's no wrong way. As long as you stand to your program, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the thing. And that's a big topic and a big thing of like California sober and all these other things about Suboxone and stuff like that's been going back and forth. And like how I figure about it is that's the way that's keeping you from doing, then do it.
Harm reduction.
You know what I mean? Exactly. You know, and that's the biggest things.
Yep.
So
I'm just so glad you said that, dude, because if you say you're sober, you're sober.
Right,
who the fuck am I to argue with you? You know, like if you smoke a joint and you say you're sober, I'm just gonna say you're sober because it's none of my damn business. If you do Suboxone and you say you're sober, then you're sober because it's none of my fucking business. Like,
and that's the thing, though. Like, you know, And it's all about what you did, though. You know what I mean? Just like people like, oh, I'm sober, but I still drink. Well, you're sober. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you wasn't an alcoholic, then you're sober. Then you could have a drink every once. Me, I can't do that. You know what I mean? My drink don't live this, that. You know what I'm saying? But you good. You know, type. You know, that's a big thing too.
Do you have somebody to hold you accountable? You said you don't really do meetings. I'm thinking like along the lines of like maybe sponsor, but not necessarily sponsor. So like, is there somebody that if you're like, man, I'm feeling bad, I need to like, I'm feeling like I need to use today. Things are going terrible. This and this and this happened. Is there somebody that you talk to that kind of like brings the recovery back?
Not. I don't have like a sponsor or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? I probably should get one, but like I talk to so many people. Like I said, I go to Home New Vision. I go, you know what I'm saying? I do talk to people, you know what I'm saying? And like, and my biggest thing is if I feel that way, I will go to a meeting and talk about it. But like for me personally, I'm gonna tell you what it is. I have a counselor. I have a, you know what I'm saying, a therapist. You know what I mean? So as long as I'm getting that shit off my chest, you know what I'm saying, and I'm going to talk about, well, I could talk about anything with her. You know what I'm saying? I got a bitch, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? With my kids, whatever. And she's like, okay, she's going to listen. And then usually that helps me out. I really think that everybody should have a counselor. You know what I mean? Yeah. For real. Oh, yeah. You know, that's the way I go personally. But yeah.
No, I was just curious. And not saying that it had to be a sponsor.
Yeah, no.
Like the multiple pathways. Some people need the sponsor. Some people need a therapist. Some people just need to go to a meeting and talk to other people and hear what's going on, that they're not alone. Some people need to go to confessional. Some people, like, it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to ask that. So I'm going to ask because I feel like it got lined up for it. So I'm going to ask. Me, I got ADHD, OCD. I'm probably autistic somewhere down the line, honestly. Probably.
The eggs thing is what got it for me.
Yeah, okay. No, so I'm probably my drinking, I'm a drunk through and through. I'm a fucking alcoholic. So it's funny you said that. Katie, not a drunk. So you can have a glass of wine with dinner and be fine. Me, I'm a fucking drunk. If I drink, I'm gonna go smoke crack. Like I'm a fucking alcoholic.
Me too.
So
like my thing is like it's really not a problem. I let the wine go to waste sometimes because I'll get too much thinking I'm gonna cook with it and drink with it. I got one in my fridge that's like 8 months old. I'm not gonna touch that.
So I'm saying all that to say some of mine is mental health. Do you think did you have any mental health issues or diagnoses that you think made you a drunk or a drug addict?
And he's also not asking you to be specific, but maybe if that was
general.
Yes.
I do. I take depression and anxiety medicine right now. You know what I mean?
Okay.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that played a part of it or not. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I think I don't know. Gotcha. I really don't even know, really. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I just I used to be the type of I just gonna do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I'm saying? That was my biggest downfall. Not listening to people, just doing whatever. So I'm not sure. I'm actually still trying to get into that because you know what I mean, get into the counseling. What made me drink? And what made me, you know what I'm saying? So
see, mine was 100% related. I felt stupid, I honestly, because I have learning disabilities and stuff, so I felt stupid, so I drank to forget it, or I self-medicated because I was so fucking sad that my sister, I had a lot of shit that mine was a direct correlation. Like mine was from here to there. It was like I could see it. Like
and you know that's a good factor, and I bet you probably was. You know what I mean? I definitely self-medicating for sure.
Gotcha.
You know, because even like when I went to jail, like they will give me my medicine. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're taking your depressant, you're taking your anxiety medicine, you're doing this. You know what I mean? You know, because like when me and my elder baby mama broke up, she stabbed me. And then like I went to she stabbed me.
Did she go jail?
Yeah. She went to jail. But she had to go to rehab because we were using together. And stuff.
Right.
So they're like, oh, I was just drunk and high, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we went to rehab and I came back and like she put a PPO on me and I couldn't go back to my house. Like everything I knew I couldn't go back to.
Gotcha.
So like I was suicidal. You know what I mean? So I went to Life Wills and they had a good program. Where we stay at, what is it called?
The Crisis.
Yeah, that. And I stayed there. You know what I'm saying? For like 2 weeks.
Did you go to the one where they let you have your phone and stuff?
No.
Because they do have like a lower crisis area where you can go and they'll let you have your phone, but they put it away after a certain time, shit like that. But that's just me asking. Sorry.
No, that was at Lifeways, in the back of Lifeways.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they changed it, but this was like a couple years ago.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I heard about it. It was more than a couple years ago. That's why I was asking.
Oh, maybe they changed. I don't know. They have. Well, we can use the phone or whatever.
Right. Okay.
We didn't have our own phone, but anyway, like they gave me anxiety medicine and stuff like that. So, but like that was like 4 years ago. So like when I got out of there, out of crisis home, that's when I started doing stuff again. So I stopped taking my medicine. But they already, because when you go to jail, they connected to the life.
Yep.
So they know, like, oh no, you're supposed to be taking medicine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, it's all a big thing. But now, like I said, whenever I start using stuff, I never take my medicine. You know what I mean? But like now that I'm not using it, I'm in recovery. I take it and everything like that. So. And I swear by it. You know what I mean? I never like to take medicine. You know, I'm like, well, I'm not depressed. You know what I mean? Who gets depressed? I can't afford to be depressed. You know what I'm saying? I can't afford, you know what I mean, for all that. But yeah, it helps me out a lot. So
I want to reiterate just you coming on and telling your story of where you were to where you are now. Yeah. Thank you. And it's success in itself. My wrap-up questions are all the same with Katie's. What is your definition of, well, before I ask that question, is there anything I missed? Is there anything you want to share? Anything I didn't ask that I should have?
No, I think it's, it was pretty good.
Perfect.
Any shout outs, anything like that?
Shout outs.
Yeah, anything you want to share, say hi to anybody, something like that. Like this is your chance to like throw a shout out, whatever.
To say hi to my mom. Hi, Mom.
Perfect.
I'm just kidding, but like everybody out there, all my, supporters, all your supporters, you know what I'm saying? Y'all just stay positive, stay moving, and stay going. You know what I mean? And we're all here. We're here to help y'all if y'all need anything or anything. We're here. So just reach out. Definitely reach out if you're having problems or if you just need somebody to talk to. Comment section is always a good section. I'm sure they read all their comments. I know I read all mine.
Yes, I do.
We did get a lot, so it does get a lot sometimes to be able to say them all out loud, but we do see every single comment.
Definitely.
So it looked like a green light. I was just curious.
But we got a lot of comments.
So what I do want to reiterate though as well is or not reiterate. The reason I asked that is to see if I did my job right. I didn't miss nothing, so I did my job pretty damn good.
Absolutely.
So my last wrap-up question is always the same. What is your definition of success?
My definition of success is just, I would say, just going for whatever you want, your goals. You know what I mean, and don't let nothing stop you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean, because it's all, like I said, it's all different. We all have different obstacles and different things we're going for. But as long as you keep going, you're successful. You know what I mean? We're going to have setbacks. And everybody in life, no matter if you're sober or you're addiction or you're not, you know what I'm saying? We're all going to have setbacks. But as long as you keep going, that's all that matters to me. That's success to me.
Yes, sir.
For real.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Katie, your wrap-up questions?
If you now met younger you, would you get along and vice versa?
Really? No, I used to be an asshole, so probably not. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
I wouldn't want to fight me for real,
like both of you would want to fight each other. Younger you would want to fight you now.
Well, no, because I would want to change my younger self. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know, because I would want to change my younger self, but at the same time, I wouldn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, then that'd change you now, too.
Exactly, and I wouldn't be who I am. Like I said, I wouldn't change anything I went through. You know what I'm saying? Bad, good, or ugly.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, nah.
Fair enough.
If you had one word to describe your entire journey from where you started, where you are now, and where you will end up, has to be a real word. Has to be one word. What's the word to describe your entire journey?
Hard.
Right on.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So thank you for coming on. Seriously. We can talk, we'll message, maybe get you back on in a month or two. We want to give you a couple stickers, prisoner to painter, do with them what you want.
Courtesy of Redbeard.
Redbeard. We're gonna cut the camera. Thank the guests or thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Will you sign our table when we cut it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, cool. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Later. See you next time.
All right.